Hey Bratayley fans, I guess you've heard, we're making history. And we're starting at the very beginning. Of our nation, that is.
Yankee Doodle went to town, riding on a pony that he found. Stuck a feather in his hat, called it macaroni, then he kept on riding on his pony.
We're off on a trip back in time to the American Revolution, in costume and undercover. We're in hot pursuit of characters like General George Washington, lady spies, soldiers, presidents, pirates, horses, and some pretty sweet dance moves. We'll travel the original 13 colonies to see what we can find and recreate some of history's most famous moments. So saddle up.
So this week we went to Philly.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia equals Philly.
So there's a marathon today. So we just had to leave our cars. We ditched them. We're gonna walk the rest of the way. It's where the United States was basically invented. The town where they wrote the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. It was even our nation's first capital. Here's the house where Martha and George Washington lived during the first presidency.
They just called it the President's House.
But before we could invent a new nation, we needed to invent a new flag. Watch your step, ladies. And so we've come to meet the legendary lady they say did just that.
Hello. Welcome to my upholstery shop, friends. My name is Betsy Ross. Come join me.
So Betsy Ross worked in a shop and she made drapes and curtains.
I even make mattresses for you to sleep on, and I hang wallpaper too. But I heard perhaps you might have come here today because you knew me from making something else. And this is the design that you wanted.
Betsy Ross is the one who made the first American flag.
I hope you can all keep it a secret. Now, if the wrong person were to find out that I was making these flags, which are rebel flags, I would be accused of a crime called treason, and I would be in a lot of trouble. So can you keep my secret? I knew I could trust you.
George Washington came over to Betsy Ross's house with a few of George Washington's friends. Says make the flag, and she has to do it secretly or she would be accused for treason.
So Betsy was pretty brave when she started snipping the stars for the first flag.
And over. They had asked for 13 red and white stripes and 13 six-pointed white stars on a blue canton. And do you notice anything different about the design that I made?
There's only 5 points on the stars.
Quite right, only 5 points.
Gary Patoon just nailed that.
Oh, very clever. Okay. Now, I did not suggest these only to be a rebel. In truth, they're a lot easier to make.
They were supposed to be 6 pointed.
Fold it in half, and then take that folded corner from the bottom and meet it to the middle.
She showed us how to make the 5-pointed star with paper.
Now, this is the last fold. And then with just one snip from our scissors. 5 pointed stars.
No way, that's so cool.
Mine didn't turn out very well. Betsy Ross was the one and only person who sewed our first flag. Betsy Ross.
After all the sewing, we had worked up an appetite at Betsy's house.
I thought Chocolate Land was going to be like Candy Land, and you got to be like a gingerbread person and hop along to Chocolate Land.
But it wasn't?
No. But it was still fun.
The colonists were crazy about chocolate, drinking chocolate for breakfast and at coffee houses where they gathered to chat about the politics of the day.
My name is Mary Craythorne. I'm a chocolate maker and mustard maker. Sometimes my chocolate has a little taste of mustard in it.
She got cocoa beans and she crushed them.
Crush it down to a fine powder.
But even more importantly, chocolate was used to give energy to the troops.
Start crushing using the heat.
I don't know what it was called. It wasn't a grinder. Hold on. I'm just gonna call it like a rolly thingy-majiggy.
Matate.
Matate.
Chocolate doesn't spoil easily, so it was a popular military ration during the Revolutionary War. Wives sent it to their husbands fighting on the front lines.
You get to put all these cool ingredients in, like cinnamon or like vanilla or
Cayenne pepper.
cayenne pepper. I hated that one. It was so spicy.
It was originally thought to be used for medicinal purposes. The thought was the more bitter something was, the better for you it was.
The worse it tastes, the
The
better.
worse, exactly.
Are you supposed to drink it?
You do drink it. It's very thick.
Whoa. Salud.
And this is very
Gotta
different from the
cheers.
chocolate that you're probably used to drinking.
Very bitter.
Are you really making yourself cry?
Really, 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 really bitter.
Betsy wasn't the only Philadelphian who liked colonial chocolate more than us. Her neighbor Ben Franklin,
Benjamin Franklin.
another famous patriot, actually sold the stuff at his print shop down the street. Just one of his many ventures.
My dad looked awesome in those Benjamin Franklin glasses. He looked super legit.
So guys, we're here in Franklin Square. Does anybody know why it's called Franklin Square?
No.
Because it's named after Benjamin Franklin. He's also known for a few quotes that he had. One, a penny saved is a penny earned. The other thing was, he was an inventor.
He invented the rocking chair and e-bicycles. You're welcome, Hayley.
In addition to those inventions, he also bragged about conducting one of the most famous experiments in American history to test whether lightning contained electricity.
Took a kite and put a key on it.
Franklin knew that metal attracts electricity.
Let's find some electricity here.
Come on! Come on! Ah! My mom and dad tried it first, and it actually worked pretty well. Katie and I flew the kite. No! And it didn't work at all, really.
Yeah!
So I'm just gonna stick with gymnastics.
By the way, we don't think Ben Franklin was really dumb enough to fly a kite in a lightning storm. That would be really dangerous. But it's a good story. While tempting lightning was certainly scary, in 1776, Ben Franklin began an even more dangerous experiment when he'd helped draft the Declaration of Independence, a lightning rod for war with the British. It all happened here at Independence Hall, where representatives from each of the 13 colonies gathered to debate whether to break from the King of England. In July 1776, they were ready.
This is where the Declaration of Independence was adopted. This is where George Washington was named Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army.
Congratulations.
This is where all the founding fathers that we've learned so much about came to meet. Madison, Monroe, Washington, Jefferson, a Johnny D thing. Give it up for Johnny D.
Whoop, whoop.
I think that's it.
That's it. I think that's it.
I think you are forgetting someone.
Oh, yeah?
Oh.
Benjamin Franklin.
Oh, Benny?
Benny.
Eggs,
Only
Benny Frankie?
the oldest and wisest one.
Well, maybe the oldest. Okay, why is this too?
Thank you.
Thomas Jefferson wrote the first draft of the Declaration, but his friend Ben Franklin made one famous change. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
We celebrate the 4th of July the same day that they signed the Declaration of Independence in that building.
Quill's out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to give a warm Bratayley Makes History welcome to Philadelphia. with a John Hancock under this beautiful clock tower.
John Hancock signed his name really big on the Declaration of Independence.
Good form, Gary Petunia! Very nice!
Hancock knew those signatures would make them all wanted men, traitors with a price on their heads. But he wanted the British to know he was ready to die for his freedom. A bell at the top of the tower rang out, signifying to all that the United States of America was born.
A ring-a-ding-ding. I thought it was gonna just be like this tiny little bell that had like a little tiny crack in it.
It could be heard for many miles, and we went to go see that very bell, the Liberty Bell.
This is how small I thought it was gonna be.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, this is like, look real.
Is it smaller than you imagined?
Bigger.
This is the famous Liberty Bell. It was like this big, humongous bell that had like that big of a crack in it all the way up. Right there, as you can see. And I thought it was gonna be like that. What was so special about that bell is what it had written on the side. Proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof.
The words inscribed on the bell didn't just inspire the colonists, they became a reminder for all Americans of their inalienable rights forevermore.
This bell meant a lot of things to a lot of different people.
Abolitionists used those words on their quest to free slaves during the Civil War, and women shouted those words years later as they fought to gain voting rights.
Women's suffrage. Woo! Women can vote! Back then they couldn't, so it said vote for women, and we all jumped with joy that women can vote now, so.
Do you guys want to take a bell selfie?
Yeah.
Let's see your bell face.
Liberty, please.
The signing of the Declaration marked the start of a brutal 8-year war. The worst year was when the British captured Philadelphia itself, and George Washington's tired and freezing troops set up winter camp just a day's ride away at a place called Valley Forge.
Welcome to Valley Forge National Historic Park.
Is this the valley?
Pretty cool, huh?
This is pretty amazing.
He picked this place because it was super strategic, because he could still keep an eye on the British, who were based in Philadelphia at the time, but they were far enough away that he could keep an eye on their movements and kind of get away or make a move if he needed to. But he could still keep an eye on them.
George's wife, Martha, joined the general and his troops here. So did Washington's cook, Hannah Till, a slave whom Washington helped to free at the end of the war. In fact, around 400 other women joined them at Valley Forge to do everything from cooking food to washing clothes to nursing sick soldiers to help them survive the cold.
Are you cold right now?
Yeah, freezing, actually.
Well,
were they.
imagine how cold it would be in the winter of 1777.
Much like this.
It just made me even colder.
Probably colder.
Some of the soldiers were so poorly equipped that they didn't even have shoes.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think they had patriotic fleece blankets either.
No. Cold was so bad that thousands of soldiers actually died that winter. Many others talked about deserting.
Some call this the birthplace of the Continental Army, because this is where the soldiers were really whipped into shape and came together as a world-class team to take on the British.
It's so cold. Warm my nose up. I was trying not to whine a lot because I felt really bad for whining that is normally like 50 degrees, but it was very, very cold and windy. Daddy! They didn't even have any shoes, and they were outside in like 10-degree weather.
Oh, yeah.
we got to snuggle by the fire. It was totally worth it to see that beautiful sunset. It's like something that you will never forget. It was really pretty, and it was like orange with like a pinkish in the sky. It was gorgeous.
From the brutal cold of Valley Forge, the American troops emerged as a stronger army, one that would march on to defeat the largest military in the world. After marching to victory, delegates eventually came back to Philly and Independence Hall in 1787 to draft a new constitution to create an even stronger United States government.
The Constitution is the highest law of the land. So I thought it would be pretty cool if we also signed the Constitution.
Oh.
What do y'all think about that?
Yeah.
So
Sign
it appears here we have a Constitution in this tube here.
George Washington just so happened to have the Constitution. So we got some quills and ink, and we dipped our quills into the ink to sign our names onto the Constitution.
Oh, going odds.
Mama?
About time there were some girl names on the Constitution. Wait, he forgot something.
CL or
I think so.
a potato or something?
I'll do it.
Get ink all over yourself.
All right, now this document's legit.